In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the one simple secret that every struggling pre-PT student must know. So this is specifically for those y'all that want to become a physical therapist, you want to get into PT school, you're working hard, you're taking classes, retaking classes, working towards the GRE, trying to apply on PTCast, trying to get your shadowing hours. This is for you, especially if you feel like you are struggling. And by struggling, that could be any area. It could be grades wise. It could be I've applied before and I've gotten rejected. I'm struggling with trying to get back into school. Whatever struggle you feel is holding you back from being a strong applicant, this video is for you. Here's one simple secret that if you can take what I'm about to share with you, you can honestly navigate through any obstacle you have and you will get into PT school, you will become a physical therapist, and you'll be able to realize the dream that you have for your career. So before I dive into that, my name is Joseph Sgugi. I'm a physical therapist. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where for years we have specialized in helping students get accepted into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. So if that is where you're at, then you're in the right place. And please binge on all the free value that we have here. We're on different platforms. We have our podcast, our YouTube channel, social media. Just binge all our stuff. And if you enjoy it, share it out with other people that you feel would benefit from it. And then of course, be sure to like, subscribe, and just keep listening to our stuff. And so let's dive into today's conversation / topic, right? So one simple secret that every struggling pre-PT student must know. And here is the secret. Write this down, pause this if you need to, and go find a pen and paper. It's actually not that complicated. I'm just being extra. But the one simple secret is that it only takes one person. That's it. It only takes one person. So let me explain what I mean by that. So one of the main things that we've seen over the years, and we've seen pretty much everything at this point, whether it's 2.4 GPAs, whether it's students being rejected as many as 4 or 5 years in a row before saying, hey, I need some guidance, I need some help, whether it's individuals who have been told by their family members, their advisors, by other people, by other PTs that they might not be good enough as an applicant to get a yes from a school, students that have been told to pick a different career path or have backup options just in case. We can go down the entire rabbit hole. We have seen it all. Here's the crazy thing. What I've noticed is that it typically only takes one student to drastically change the mindset of someone that's struggling. And most of the time as a student, if I am struggling, I'm either struggling without a clear roadmap of how to get out of my struggle. So whether it's low grades or whatnot, I'm going on this path and I'm hoping that I'll get into PT school at some point, but I still have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm kind of stumbling through and I'm still super anxious. I'm very lost. I'm very overwhelmed. That's the one path. The other path is students that are like, no, I know for sure I'm going to get in, and I know that the path that I'm on is actually now going to get me there. I had to redirect a few things, and I know that I'm going to get there because I have proof. And here's the proof. The proof comes from the one person that they have seen do it after struggling with the same obstacle. So let's dive into a little deeper. So one of the biggest groups that we've worked with over the years is students with struggles with grades, so low GPAs. And I have seen students that have reached out to us after having a 3.6 GPA thinking that's too low, a 3.2 GPA thinking that's low, a 2.6 GPA, a 2.5 GPA. And something that super interesting happens. And I usually ask them questions on, okay, so where are you at academically? Let's talk about what the journey has been like. And typically it's students that are struggling earlier on in their schooling. Some of them just don't have as much direction, or maybe they did not initially know they wanted to be a physical therapist, so they might have not been as serious about school, and then they figured out, oh, PT is what I want to do, and then they got locked in and focused. But ultimately what happens is a lot of them are coming in with a lot of doubts, and those doubts have been planted by other people who really don't know how to guide them. And sometimes that's their advisor who's saying, have a backup plan just in case. Sometimes that's family saying, just, because most of our family members don't really know how to help us because they have never been a PT. They've never been on the path that you're on. And I see these students coming into these conversations with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of second guessing. And what usually changes it quicker than anything else is a story. I just tell a story, simple story. And at this point, we've coached hundreds and hundreds of students in our coaching programs, our paid coaching programs. So I know a lot of these stories personally because we've worked with tons of students from all around the country. So I usually just pick a story from someone that we've worked with in the past that was in a slightly worse situation, but still was able to get into PT school. And when I tell you that their anxiety turns into anticipation, like excitement, it's because they now believe it's possible. Tangibly, they believe it's possible because it only took one story to get them to realize that if it could work for that person, then it could also work for them. So for example, whenever students have low GPAs, I typically tell a story of someone that we've had that has had an even lower GPA. And so one of the stories is one that you may have heard if you followed us for a bit. We had a student, his name is Ben Kim. He had a 2.4 GPA after graduating from undergrad. And I then go and kind of list out what his main struggles were. A family that had basically said, we don't think you're going to be able to pull it off. Basically all advisors saying, I've never seen someone getting into PT school after starting out with a GPA this low. Other PTs saying, I'm glad you like PT, but it does not look like it's going to be the career for you. And as we speak, he is currently a physical therapist. So what did he do in between? And then I go in and say, he did this. And every single story we ever tell is someone that has actually worked with us. So one of the pieces is the fact that they joined our coaching program. But I say, but ultimately, here's what he did. And if you can do these things, can you see how this could increase your likelihood of getting a yes from a school? And instantly they're like, yes, because it's, for some of the students, it's the first time they've had someone tell them that it's possible, but not just as a theory. They're being told as a fact, as a blueprint that has worked for at least one other person. Now, what makes it better is when you can hear 2 stories, 10 stories, 20 stories, 30 stories, 50 stories of people that have had a worse situation than you, but were able to get to the outcome. But typically it just takes that first one to give them hope, to give them clarity, to give them motivation. Because a big piece of it is this too. Like, think of what happens when you're super, super anxious, right? When you're in your head, when you're second guessing, you waste a lot of time doing that. You waste a lot of time worrying when you should be spending a lot of time, really all of your time, doing the things that'll help you get better grades, doing the things that'll get you matched up with the right programs, doing the things that'll really give you a higher chance of getting a yes from a school, along with understanding what the schools actually want and so many other pieces that are important. And all of a sudden it becomes a roadmap that you're like, oh, I know exactly what to do right now. I know exactly what to do this week. I know exactly what to do this month, this semester, and so on and so forth, so that I can get a yes from a school. But that's the secret. It only takes one. So take a look at where you're struggling right now. If you feel like you're struggling, ask yourself, have I seen someone else do it before? Have I seen someone else pull this off? Because if you haven't, reach out to us. We have students that have. Like, I have not been surprised by a pre-PT story in nearly 3.5 years. Now, if your story is somehow unique from anything we've ever seen, then please still like reach out to us and we got you and we'll figure it out. But more than likely, it's not unique. And if it's not unique, it means that it's worked for other people. Other people have still been able to get into their dream career of becoming a physical therapist after struggling with similar things to you. And if they could do it, why not you? Does that make sense? And so that was the point of this particular training, is to get you to understand that all you need to focus on is the people that have already done it. That's it. That's it. Lean into the stories who have been in the same shoes as you before. Because if it's been done once, it can be done again. But you can also choose to believe that it's not possible. You can also choose to believe that it's impossible. And if you choose to believe that, then you'll act like it. You'll act like you'll never have a chance. You'll act like there's nothing you can control. You'll act like it's other people's fault, and all the pieces that really just lead to regret, because you'll ultimately pull the plug. You will quit on your dream. You'll end up doing something that does not align with you as much. And then 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, you might look back and say, I wish I would have, when you could have, but you chose to believe that it was impossible. So what would you choose? Which path would make more sense to you? Which path would be more fulfilling for you? Which path would support your family the best? Which path would allow you to step into who you've been called to be? It's just a question, but it only takes one. It only takes one story. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, Joseph, this sounds great, but I still don't know anyone that has had similar struggles to mine, whether it's academic, whether it's financial, whether it's being a non-traditional student, whether it's my age. I'm telling you, we've seen it all. Like, I've seen students get into PT school in their 40s. Like, let's not get it twisted. But if you're in that position, you're like, I want guidance, but I also don't know who to reach out to, then do this for me. Go to www.acceptedstrategy.com. www.acceptedstrategy.com. Go to that link, fill out that form, and we will hop on a call with you within the next few days. Let's talk about your situation. Let's see where you're at. Let's see what your biggest struggles are, what the gap is. And let's, first of all, help you build a game plan for what your next best steps should be. But also, let's connect you with stories of other students just like you that will help you realize, oh, this is very possible for me. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoy this, please be sure to like, subscribe, be sure to share this out with someone else that you believe would be benefited from it. And we will see you on the next training. But that link, once again, is www.acceptedstrategy.com. Have an amazing one. Keep crushing it. Don't pull the plug on your dream, because you only get one life. Let's get it.